fam. Today is my birthday, and so I decided to switch things up and do a little something special. So a couple of days ago on IG, I asked y'all to ask me some questions that you wanted me to talk about. So I'm going to do that while I straighten my hair. So this is going to be like a get ready with me / chit chat / ask me anything. This is not a hair tutorial. This is not a hair channel. I just thought that I would give you guys a little gift on my birthday because this is something that y'all have been asking for a long time. And there are also going to be two special announcements. So the first thing is a giveaway. Y'all know it's not my birthday if I'm not doing a giveaway. So I'm going to be announcing the giveaway in this video. I also have a really special and possibly surprising announcement about the Lazy Millennial Lounge podcast. Hint / spoiler alert, I am sunsetting the Lazy Millennial Lounge podcast. So later in this video, I am going to talk about why. Also, I would love it if you would comment below and tell me your favorite birthday song. I am partial to 2 Chainz' Birthday, It's Your Birthday, because y'all know how I get down, okay? Comment below and let me know what your favorite birthday jam is, and let's get into the video. I asked you guys what you wanted me to talk about, what questions you had. I got about 4 questions and they're really good, and a couple of them I think will even be good for like separate videos. The first question was, would I ever consider going back to a full-time job? which I think is a very interesting question. Now, in my case, if you're new to the channel, I am a pharmacist and I worked as a public health pharmacist. And while I was working as a public health pharmacist, decided to start freelance writing on the side. And after a while, I decided to turn that freelancing into a business. And then I left my full-time job to work in my business full-time, which is what I currently do. My answer to that actually makes more sense if you have already listened to the video about why I decided to quit. In that video, I talked about one of the reasons that I left my full-time job being that I felt like I couldn't really make the impact that I thought I would be able to in my career. And so with the belief that I could make that impact working full-time for myself in the business that I built, that is kind of what led me to quit my job. It was largely about being able to like fully use the gifts that I think God has given me for good and like have the desired impact on the world. Having my business is not really an ego thing for me, meaning that I'm not so married to the idea of having my own business, quote unquote, that I would never go back to a full-time job if I felt like I could have the desired level of impact that I feel like I could make in that role. So basically, like if a company approached me and had like the perfect job, you know, an amazing package, the right position, if all the stars really aligned with that, I wouldn't necessarily like say no right off the bat. Like basically, I'm not just gonna go to any full-time job, put it like that. But I'm also not gonna knock traditional employment because that's not why I got into business for myself. It wasn't because I'm anti-corporate or anti-traditional employment. It was because I felt like I could make a stronger impact on the world on my own. But if that was challenged and I was presented with a role where I could make a more significant impact, then I would definitely look into it. So that's my thought on that. The next question is, do I ever have doubt? Of course I do. Everybody has doubt, period. I was having just a meet and greet call, like an intro call with someone I met online last week. She asked me about my story, like basically my trajectory for where I am now. And so I told her the story, and after I finished, she was like, that sounds like such a strong and like intentional path. And I was like, see, that's why I am like hesitant to talk about my story sometimes, because I know that on the other end, like as the person who is receiving that story, hearing that story, like I know that it sounds like a very cohesive, it still seems like a clear path that makes sense in retrospect. But the truth is, this path I did not set out knowing what I was gonna be doing 2, 3, 5 steps down the line. Sometimes I didn't even know what my next step was going to be. And so it was very stressful. It was very stressful to like live this path that I decided to live, because at my core, I'm a planner. And so I like to know what's ahead of me 2, 3, 5 steps down the line. I at least want to know the very next step. And a lot of times I had no idea what the very next step was going to be. So everything that I was doing had a shadow of doubt over it, because I'm like, all right, I really don't know what the plan is. Like I know what I would like to happen, but I don't have a way to make sure that that can happen, because there are so many things that are outside of my control. For example, I knew that after pharmacy school, I wanted to go directly into public health. I wanted to go back to the CDC because I had already done a fellowship there while I was in pharmacy school, but I didn't know how to get back to the CDC because it's not easy. It's not easy to do that, period, but especially for a pharmacist, it's not easy to get into the CDC because there are not a lot of roles for pharmacists at the CDC. And so even though that's what I wanted, I didn't know how to get there. So the decisions that I made and the paths that I decided to take were designed to like help me get there later. But I didn't know if later would ever come. People, advisors, mentors who meant me well, basically wanted to make sure that I was setting myself up for success in general. And so they're like, oh, you need to do a residency, like you have to do a residency after pharmacy. I'm like, bro, I'm not doing a residency. Even pharmacists who were my mentors at the CDC were telling me that, and I'm just like, no, not gonna do it. That's not it. And so I was actively going against the advice of a lot of people in my life who I knew meant me well. That inherently brings a lot of doubt. And like, just because you feel doubt about things or you feel imposter syndrome about things, like, know that that's normal. And I don't know that that's something that ever goes away. I don't know that that's something that we should expect to ever go away. Like, doubt doesn't scare me. It makes me uncomfortable, but it doesn't scare me because I know that it's a part of life. And also because I know that God has my back. The next question, is it tougher balancing your business with 2 kids compared to 1? And if you follow me on Instagram, which by the way, if you don't, you should go do that now. When the person asked this, I sent a story reply of my son, my 4-year-old son, who was climbing on my back at the time, and my daughter, who was like trying to grab my phone. And I said, I think you already know the answer to this question, but I will answer it anyway. Yes, 1 kid is completely different from 2 kids. And that's just like period. Business aside, like, it's just a lot different to manage 2 little lives compared to 1. Now, if you throw running a business on top of that, if you throw being a work at home and take care of kids mother on top of that, if you throw being in a pandemic and not having support outside the home on top of that, it's almost like unbelievable what is happening in this home right now. Like, between me and my husband and the kids, I'm unsure. Well, I shouldn't say that. I was gonna say I'm unsure how we're doing this, but it's definitely only by the grace of God that this is working. Because if you would have told me what was gonna be happening right now, like in January, I would have laughed in your face. I actually did laugh in people's faces because there are people who work from home with their kids, like moms in particular, I'm thinking of, before this, like just voluntarily before the pandemic. And I was always confused about how they managed to do that. Like, how do you have the energy to take care of kids all day and then work whenever there is downtime, if there is downtime, like a nap or something? Because when my kid's taking a nap, I'm trying to take a nap too. God has quite the sense of humor, and I don't necessarily share that sense of humor. My family is so blessed to be healthy and happy and whole and capable of doing what we're doing right now. But again, a lot of this is not us. It's God carrying us through this. And so, to answer the question directly, yes, it's much tougher to balance my business with 2 kids compared to 1, but it's even tougher because of the pandemic situation and the way that it has kind of shifted things in our household in particular. I don't like creating content. That's what a person sent me on IG. She said, I don't like creating content. How can I enjoy it more? It seems, based on the way that things are talked about or conveyed online, it kind of seems like you have to be creating content in order to be relevant. I'm not saying that's true or not. I'm just saying like that's how it seems. So if you are a person who actually doesn't like creating content, you know, how do you balance that? Because creating content actually takes a lot of time and energy and these other resources. And so if your heart's not really in it, or if it's not something you're really interested in, it's like, well, you know, what do I do? So my suggestions are first to identify what it is that you dislike about creating content, okay? So is it the actual process of coming up with ideas? Do you feel pressured to be funny or to be creative or to be entertaining? Like, are you feeling like you have to meet a certain standard in order to create content? And is that kind of making it not fun for you? Are you on a platform that you don't enjoy? Like, for example, do you have a YouTube channel and have you found that you actually don't really like YouTube? Or do you have Instagram and you have figured out that you don't actually like to interact with people on Instagram? Is it that you're a private person and you feel like you have to share so much of your life in order to be relevant? Like, what are the real reasons that creating content is not enjoyable for you? I think that in itself, being able to answer that question can help shed some light on like what your next steps need to be. Another question that would be helpful to ask yourself is, why are you creating content? Like, are you just doing it just to do it? Are you trying to grow a following and become an influencer? Are you trying to promote a business? Are you just trying to connect with people or do something cool for, like, as a hobby or a pastime? What is your actual motivation for doing this? Especially if it's something you don't like. Like, why? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like someone is forcing you to create content, or hopefully that's not the case. Unless this is like a job related question, in which case maybe the answer is just simply like finding another job or finding other responsibilities that you can take up at this job. But yeah, knowing like why you're trying to create this content in the first place, and then figuring out like what is the most direct path you can take to achieve that goal without like burning yourself out with content creation, especially considering that you don't enjoy the process. I just think you don't want to put too much time into something that doesn't serve a real purpose. So if you can figure out what that purpose is, and then maybe think of some alternatives to actually creating content, like what else can you do that can help you reach that goal, or find ways to make the process more enjoyable for you. So maybe that involves changing the format or outsourcing, or, you know, changing the subject, like the topics, the matter, the meat of the content you're creating, tweaking something to make the process a little bit more enjoyable for you, if creating content is even something that you want to continue doing based on whatever your goal is. Y'all, it's a lot of work trying to talk and do my hair at the same time. Okay, so those were the 4 questions that you guys asked, but I actually have something else that I wanted to talk to you about today. And that is, hold on, let me part my hair and then I'm gonna tell you. That is the fact that as of today, October 7th, 2020, I am officially sunsetting the Lazy Millennial Lounge podcast. I know. Shocking, right? I actually started this podcast on this here day, October 7th, my birthday, 2018, 2 years ago. And the podcast, for those who have never listened to it or who are unfamiliar, I really started it out of frustration. I was frustrated with the way that millennials were constantly being portrayed in the media, by the media, as entitled, lazy, all of those related terms. And I felt like the positive aspects of our generation and the positive contributions that we have made to society were being overlooked. Also, in addition to that, I had also finally realized that I am a multi-passionate person, meaning that despite having accomplished certain goals that I wanted to accomplish, I still had other interests, and that I didn't feel like I was put here on earth to do just one thing, but that in fact, I have multiple quote unquote callings, and that there were multiple things that I wanted to do in my life. And I found that I discovered through a TED talk by Emily Wapnick called something like why some people don't have just one true calling. Highly recommend watching that TED talk if you think you are a multi-passionate person or might be. But when I heard that TED talk, I realized, wow, I am not the only person out here who feels this way. So with the whole frustration about the way millennials were being portrayed and talked about, and the realization of being multi-passionate, I thought to myself, hey, why don't I create a platform where we can actually celebrate ourselves? Nobody else is celebrating us. Let's celebrate ourselves. Let's encourage each other. Let's share our stories of success and how multi-passionate millennials and how multi-passionate millennials are changing the world. And so I decided to create this podcast, and I have had, I don't know how to talk about it, 2 different types of episodes. So on Tuesdays, I would publish a guest interview where I talked to a multi-passionate millennial who was using creativity in interesting ways. So maybe they had started a business, or maybe they were into creative hobbies, or had a creative full-time job, something along those lines. In many cases, these people were also multi-passionate millennials and were doing a lot of different things. So I would have them on the show to share their stories on Tuesdays. And then on Sundays, I have these episodes called Side Note Sunday. And those were shorter, quicker, 15 to 20 minute episodes where I talked about what was actively going on in my own business at the time. So almost keeping you guys up to date on the development and the growth of my business, different challenges that I was facing. It wasn't a rose-colored glasses type episode series. It was definitely real talk, the good things, the stressful things, what's working, what's not working, and just sharing what I was learning as a growing business owner with you guys. Over the past 2 years, I've had, I think by the time Wednesday rolls around, there will be 101 or 102 episodes on the podcast. So that kind of brings me to, well, why then am I sunsetting it if it has been such a great project? I should also add that I did not start the podcast as a business or to be monetized or anything like that. So it's not an income source, and it wasn't intended to be when I created it. So sorry, y'all, gotta get these roots. Okay. So why am I sunsetting the podcast? I am a staunch believer in seasons, and I don't mean seasons of a podcast. I just mean seasons of life and projects. And I really think it's okay to let things go. When you start a creative project, it doesn't have to live on in perpetuity. It can end. It's okay for things to end. And if you are working on a project and you start feeling like you're ready for it to end, then end it. Look at this postpartum shedding, guys, y'all. All of these edges were gone, and now they're growing back, which is why we had these just wispy random things. So yeah, I want to focus more on this YouTube channel and building it into the story that I want to tell. And not just about business and not just about content, but about life in general. and doing all of those things as a mother. And you know, I wanted to make sure that there's a healthy dose of Black girl magic sprinkled through this channel, because I want it to really be an accurate reflection of who I am from all types of different perspectives and angles. And I've learned over the past several years that it's really easy for me as a multi-passionate person to spread myself too thin. And so I have been making a constant effort to make sure that the things that I'm doing, the projects that I'm working on, are really meaningful to me and that I actually enjoy them. Because as we have learned this year, and 2019 was rough emotionally for me as well and taught me some of these lessons, life is too short to be out here spending so much time on something that isn't bringing you value. And I don't mean necessarily financial value, I mean whatever you have defined as value for it. And so while I have enjoyed these past several years, oh hey little Gray, my Gray wanted to come out and wish me happy birthday. Well, I have enjoyed these past few years of like helping people share their stories and helping encourage fellow multi-passionate millennials. And while I will continue, y'all, somebody's cutting their grass, I'm sorry. And while I will continue to do that through the Multi-Passionate Meg channel, it's gonna look a little different, and that's okay, because that's part of what growth is. It's evolving. You know, we don't stay the same, and so our interests change and our goals change, and that means that the projects that we are working on will also change, and that's okay. And so that's why I am going to sunset the podcast. I will still be here on the YouTube channel creating content for you every Sunday at 1 p.m. You already know, but I might change that depending on how you all feel about weekdays versus weekends. We'll talk more about that later. But yeah, for right now, know that I am focusing on the YouTube channel. My goal is actually to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. 1,000 subscribers by December 31st, 2020. By the way, if you are not already subscribed to the channel, I would love it if you would go ahead and do that. Join the Multi-Passionate Meg family. Help me reach my goal. And, you know, my goal is to help you reach your goals through this channel as well. I want to thank you for riding with the podcast for all this time and for supporting, for sharing. It's been a great journey. So I'm going to finish straightening this hair, and then I am going to announce the birthday giveaway. Made it to a really special part of the video. It's time to talk about the giveaway. First of all, what is the person who wins this giveaway going to win? The prize is going to be a self-care box. I'm basically going to get a box, like a package size box, and I'm going to fill it with as many self-care items as I possibly can. I am not going to tell you what all is in the box, but think candles, bath bombs, maybe some CBD oils, some essential oils, you know, stuff like that. And I want to try to fill this box with as many Black-owned brands as possible. So if you have suggestions for Black-owned brands who create self-care products, definitely let me know. I'm also going to give away a free 30-minute strategy call for anyone who has an online business. So if you have watched other videos on my channel or seen me talk about my work, my business on Instagram, you know that I am a content strategist, and and I actually work with health companies to help them develop effective content strategies. And I'm also starting to pivot towards online business owners, course creators, content creators who need content creation tips for their businesses as well. So if you fall into that category, then I will be happy to throw in a 30-minute content strategy session for you if you are the winner of this giveaway. So how do you enter? What are the rules? They are really simple. The first thing that you need to do is like this video and comment happy birthday. The second step is to make sure that you are subscribed to the Multi-Passionate Meg channel. Third thing that you need to do is go to Instagram and follow me at Multi-Passionate Meg. And the last thing that you need to do when you get to my Instagram, you will see a birthday reel. Make sure that you like that reel, and if you read the caption under the reel, you will also find 2 more ways that you can get 2 more extra entries into the giveaway. So you'll be able to increase your chances of winning by reading the caption under that reel and following those directions, okay? I am going to be selecting a winner next Wednesday, October 14th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I want to see you on my Instagram page at that time so that I can announce the winner live. You can find out whether you won, and you can make sure to let me know where to send your box, okay? I just want to say how much I appreciate you guys for your support over the past several months. I would say like maybe 6 to 9 months as I've been trying to be more active on YouTube and getting my channel back up and running. This channel is all about sharing helpful online business tips, guidance about content creation, and balancing it all with motherhood and like a sprinkle of black girl magic on top of everything. So if that is something that is up your alley, make sure that you subscribe to the Multi-Passionate Meg family, because I am so excited to continue growing this channel. My goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So thank you for that. Honestly, turning 31, it kind of feels odd because I don't feel like I actually got a chance to really enjoy 30. I'm just blessed to be seeing another year and blessed to be sharing it with you guys. So thank you so much for the support. Make sure to complete those steps to enter the giveaway, and I will see you on Instagram.